What's good, everybody? This is Chris, and we're here with another episode of Chris Talks, where we show you a cannabis tip, cannabis news, and a cannabis trend with the market analysis for what's going on currently in cannabis right now. Most of my perspective is based here in California, and I'm trying to show you our system here and all the experiences I've had to go through. If you're opening up in a new state, or if you're trying to come out to California to start working in this industry, my channel is going to show you a lot of the ins and outs and give you a lot of the tips to avoid most of the pitfalls, to set your expectations to what they should be. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about taking losses in the industry and in life in general. We're going to be talking about the MORE Act, Amazon's support of that, and what Amazon's angle is in the cannabis industry. Finally, we're going to wrap it up with the market analysis. I'm going to go over some of the strains that are coming out, where the market's at right now for the summertime. We're coming into harvest season. I got a lot of tips for you guys to not only make some more money in this harvest season, but to help save you a lot of losses. And it's really important, some of the things I got to say in that section. So be sure to tune in, watch, subscribe, follow, like, set the alerts, hit the thumbs up. That helps with the algorithm. And check out our other videos. Thanks. Today I wanted to talk to you guys this first section about loss, the importance of it, how to deal with it, and how to grow from it. In life, you're gonna deal with loss, and you're gonna experience it, and it's gonna happen. In this industry, in cannabis, you're gonna experience loss in so many different ways. Sure, there's the obvious ways, getting robbed, police taking your stuff, just physically having issues like having a bunch of weed that goes bad. It has a shelf life, so if it doesn't get sold right away, or if it's stored improperly, if you're in cultivation and you get an infestation of bugs or mold, or in the summertime here in LA, they have rolling blackouts that could last sometimes, multiple hours. One blackout, I know it's happened in my facility and a friend's facility, and we actually both had issues from the same night. We got seeds in the end product because basically the plants were stressed out. My point is, there's a lot of things out of your control that could be devastating to your bottom line, and how well you handle those issues is going to determine how much you can grow and learn from it. Another friend just told me, if the glass is half full or glass is half empty, just shut up and drink it. And so that's really what you should look at, is just don't worry about what happened. It just happened, and it's just a day in the life, and it's a day in that journey. And it's about the journey, not the end result. So you want to take what you're learning on that journey, implement it so that you can progress. Really, the whole thing clicks when you understand that money's just energy, and it's in your life on the journey as it goes along. So there's days where you lose it, there's days where you gain it, and it's just like the stock market. It's just up and down, and you want to always be on an upward trend, but you're gonna have to take those ups and downs to get there. And it's just about having more ups than downs. And again, I don't want to have a pessimistic tone to these videos. I want the reality to really set in, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. I'm trying to really convey the lessons that I've learned to the people that are watching. Take what it is that I'm talking about and put it to use in your situation, because no one's going to be in my situation. The ways of dealing with things can be adapted to other people's situations. And if you're getting into the cannabis space, you're going to have to deal with a lot of these situations I speak about in one way or the other. Just be safe out there, do good business, put out good energy into the universe, manifest and attract what it is that you want at the times when you need it. You'll be guaranteed to actually have a good direction to go in if you do all that. Today I want to talk about the MORE Act. Not just the MORE Act, but I want to really talk about Amazon's support of the MORE Act. Amazon is now allowing their employees that don't drive to smoke cannabis as long as it's not during work, so they can do what they want after work, which makes sense. All these states are legalizing, they should at least give people the chance. It's like saying, oh, because you work here, you can't have beer. And speaking of beer, that's kind of my next segue into the effects of what's going to happen when Amazon lobbies the government and helps get federal legalization happening, if that's actually what's going to happen. My response to that is I wouldn't be too concerned, at least not at first, because let's say if their long-term play is to get into cannabis, what the common thought would be retail delivery of cannabis, to where you're basically ordering it online and then Amazon Prime's delivering it to your door. rather than delivery service from a dispensary. Here in California, we have either a non-storefront dispensary, a non-storefront retail, or a storefront retail. The difference of the two is non-storefront obviously doesn't have a storefront, and they just deliver it in a car. So you order it online and it gets delivered to your house like a pizza. What people are thinking is that Amazon's gonna try to poach that market initially off top. The reason why I'm not concerned is because we saw it unfold when they bought Whole Foods. When that purchase went through, they became holders of over, I think it was 300 or something licenses of alcohol licenses. So now all of a sudden, overnight, they went from an online retailer to now a grocery store and alcohol sales place. The obvious thought was, yeah, you're gonna start to be able to order groceries on Amazon and get them delivered to your door. Back then, what people were concerned about was, is it gonna ruin the liquor industry, the alcohol industry? They were actually concerned about it, but the reason why it didn't is because the alcohol industry is very similar to the cannabis industry in the sense that each state has their own laws set out for alcohol and how it's regulated and how every piece of the puzzle actually works. So if Amazon wanted to sell alcohol throughout the country, they would have to have a set of rules, license, and most likely some sort of a facility or footprint in each state that they want to sell in. As of today, they only sell in 12 cities in America alcohol. Out of these 12 cities, they have the regulations and the permit and the oversight to be able to sell alcohol. I don't know how many cities are in America, but that's like doesn't even become a percentage point at that point. So what I'm getting at here is we shouldn't be concerned about Amazon taking away our retail business or our distribution business, at least anytime soon, because if they did, it's gonna take them years and years of retooling their infrastructure, getting their permits, getting their compliance people. It's just not feasible. If anything, I see them partnering up in a sense with operators either already that are licensed and maybe providing software and logistics solutions of some sort and approaching it from that angle. I don't see them directly encroaching on license holders to where Amazon's gonna put the cannabis industry out of business overnight in a sense. It'll take decades. That's my perspective on Amazon's backing of the MORE Act. The MORE Act itself has a lot of good points to it. It's trying to address the social inequality between, the war on drugs and what that caused both in certain neighborhoods, all the nonviolent cannabis crimes getting expunged. There'd be a national agency, an actual government agency tasked to doing that, to actually figuring out who needs to get expunged and making that happen. Because that's a big deal, like especially the people that serve time, that risk their lives, that have lost their lives, and not even lost their lives to death, but lost their lives to years of jail. There's people that have been in there for decades for probably as much weed as I smoke in a week. The other thing that the MORE Act addresses is there's going to be actual economic benefits for cannabis businesses. I can tell you firsthand from running cannabis businesses, there's absolutely no legitimate banking solution that actually makes sense. There's a few different ones that we've attempted to use, or we use very sparingly because they usually cost a lot of money and it's usually a percentage. We get charged anywhere from 3 to 5% on the money that's in the account. Just to send a wire, just like any other business, is gonna cost us thousands of dollars when any other business can do it for $30. And they can do it instantly and pretty much from their laptop. For us, it's like a whole day ordeal at best. It might be a multi-day ordeal. So this MORE Act is going to kind of level the playing field a little bit in a sense for not just the businesses, but also the social inequality with all the people that have sacrificed and actually paid the price for us to actually be where we're at today in a legalized industry. You can't thank them enough for the sacrifices that have been made. There's just too many of them and too big of sacrifices and people losing everything in their lives. So that's pretty much it for what I had to say for the news. Make sure you guys understand that where we're at in the industry today has never happened before in our lives, and it's never gonna happen again. We're making history. I'm glad that I'm able to help share the knowledge and just experiences that I've had, the lessons I've learned. Hopefully that will help catapult you guys to be able to avoid some of those and just really hit the next level, be the next generation that takes the cannabis industry even further. Thanks for that. We're right now in the middle of July. what I'm seeing both from the nurseries and just talking to so many growers, and everyone's switching over to gelato and runts, which is a good thing for the sales guys and for buyers that are demanding those strains. And it's also a good thing for the cultivators too, because now they're not gambling with certain strains that they know they won't sell. We know that next year, any derivative of that, whether it's even Gushers, Biscotti, we're seeing a lot of those come out. All these things are derivatives of gelato ultimately. And runts too is a derivative of gelato. We're seeing a heavy gelato dominant profile that I could easily predict out. I'd say for the next 12 months it'll sustain. Granted, there's always that chance that it's gonna get played out like the way ice cream cake did, but I think if it does, it's gonna take a longer time period. It's gonna take another 2 to 3 years to do that, because gelato is just, it's kind of like OG. It's the next classic strain for that generation. It's just tried and true. The majority of people that smoke it like it. It does what they want it to do to them. They want it more often, consistently. My opinion on the market over the next 6 to 12 months, for sure, will be a heavy gelato and runts profile. I'm seeing it in the nurseries too. There's a lot of people ramping up those strains. Any of the grows that do it, whether you're indoor, light dep, mainly indoor and light dep, you want to be focusing on gelato. Outdoor is hard to say because not only do the yields vary on the outdoor, but also the quality and the color. The color of those purple plants when you do them outdoor, and sometimes even in depths too, like in the hoop houses, they don't come out right. They come out like with a brownish tint to it or something. So sometimes those dark purple genetics can actually do worse outside because they don't have the same bag appeal as the indoor. So you gotta be careful on that side. In quality dep runs and indoor, you can't go wrong by doing gelatos or runts. The thing about runts is you're gonna get a lower yield. With gelato, you're mainly gonna see gelato 33 and gelato 41 out there. I personally prefer growing gelato 41. You get a higher yields and the quality is impeccable off top. It's an amazing, bright, vibrant color purple, and it's got these nice orange hairs that come out of it. So just the bag appeal on it is amazing, especially if you got a bunch of crystals on it. So you get that purple, orange, and white, and it just looks beautiful. The gelato 33 doesn't really have the orange hairs, and it has more of a denser structure, but it also has a lower yield than the gelato 41 has. But you get more of an exotic look with the gelato 33, and what some people do is they'll grow the gelato 33 and then change the name to runts and get a higher price that way. The ultimate thing right now in the market, the holy grail, I'd say, we got 2 strains that everyone's sought after. The most sought after that's still somewhat available is lemon cherry gelato. And we're seeing a lot of that in the Bay Area, a lot of demand for that throughout the state and the country. We're hearing brands that are growing that in, Michigan, Florida, Nevada. These are all new licensed states that are coming up that are taking strains that are doing well in California and putting them out in those states. When you see nationwide demand for specific strains, you know that doing them here in our home state of California will be good. We always want to do some R&D strains. We want to roll some out, see which ones do well, see how they grow, see how they sell, see how they smoke. These are all important characteristics to figure out what are the next year's strains going to be. Right now, my market analysis, if you're a grower, grow gelato, grow runts. If you're a buyer, you already know what time it is. You're buying this stuff already. You're asking for it. It's just a matter of having more available to you, better options, and we'll be in good price ranges too. If you're a cultivator, one important tip though about switching over to strains is always do your research on it. Make sure to check, do your test runs, make sure the cut that you're getting. Just because they call it gelato 41 doesn't mean it's the actual gelato 41 or the one that you want to grow or the one that's being cut from a good clean source. It could be generations old, it could be prone to pest problems, it could be poor harvest quality, it could have gotten Duds disease, the hops virus. That's another thing to check for in your clones is get them tested for the hops latent virus. It's really important when you're getting clones, if you're switching strains or providers, or even almost when you're buying clones from nurseries every time, even if it's the same nursery, get a tissue sample, get a leaf sample and send it to the lab for hops latent virus analysis and see if there's any other viruses in there too, but mainly the hops latent virus, also called Duds disease. Your plant will grow, and then by the time it's actually flowering, you don't realize that it's got the disease until the flowers are coming out 50% of the quality they should be. They suck up all these resources and time, but if there was some way to tell when they're a baby, you could have just thrown it away and put a new clone in and you wouldn't have had a problem. So that's definitely a way to mitigate the hops virus when you're buying clones. Next, if you're switching over strains as a farmer, phase them in, check your yields, make sure you're getting the right cut, make sure you're doing a strain that can sell. Let us know in the comments what you're doing, how you're doing it, what your expectations for the next 2-3 years are, what strains you're gonna be doing, which type of gelato you like growing better, or if you've grown biscotti or gushers, or which ones of those. I've heard gushers are getting better yields than biscotti. I've personally had good luck selling gushers too. They seem to go pretty consistently, pretty easily, just as easy as if they were gelato. I do have a feeling that runts will get played out, or at least start losing some of its pricing action, and it'll just kind of hold it at a steady price, same way gelato is gonna feed into, but the thing is, it'll be consistent. It'll be the new breeds, the new strains, like you see RS11 is like upper echelon. That's everyone wants it, but they can't get it. These are higher demand, but less availability. And so gelato is gonna be in high demand and high availability in the next year. Take that into account and go make some money. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you learned something. Remember to keep the losses, take them lightly, make them learning experiences and growth experiences. Don't look at the cup as half empty. Also, with the Morax, leave your comments below. Tell me what you think on your perspective. I'm sure in different states, there's gonna be different opinions. I'd like to hear more about that. In this last market analysis section, I'm confident in what I'm seeing in the market. Follow some of those tips. Make sure to not just make some money, but save yourself from losing money. And that's more important. It's not about how much you can make, it's about how much you can keep. Hit the subscribe button to learn how to make money from licensed cannabis. Follow our Instagram as well. We come out with fresh content. There's tons and tons of stuff coming out on this channel. We got a new TikTok too. Check us out on there, Hi Chris Official, and that's our Instagram as well. The backup Instagram, because we got some haters or something, is Hi Chris Official with a 0 instead of an O. So thanks, follow us, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, like us, and comment.